What's up, GQ? This is Trax. Today we're going to be breaking down some of the biggest pieces in Post Malone's jewelry collection. So here you have a variety of classic pieces. The first thing that pops out in this image is this Dallas Cowboys blue. It looks like a blue sapphire. I don't think it's a blue diamond. It looks like a blue sapphire piece that I think was a gift that someone gave him. Rep in Texas over there. Hot Boys, right, with the dripping red. And all of the chains that are around the neck. Puffy links, anchor links, pointer chains. You've got everything going on over there, all jumbled. Rockstar meets hip hop, meets down south, meets anything you can imagine in the world, all on one neck. Post Malone. There's a reason why we're reviewing his jewelry, because he's got a certain style. So Post Malone has a beautiful collection of jewelry, but it's his watches that make him pop out and stand out, because he's got a lot of value in those, and it's a surprise. For a guy with all the tattoos, he's got a collection of watches that any businessman around the world would be envious of. So right here, he's got a very rare, very collectible Daytona with a rainbow bezel. The rainbow bezel is sapphires, right? And I'll show you an example because I love that bezel so much that I make bracelets to match it. This is based upon the Rolex bezel. You take sapphires, blue, green, red, pink if you want, and a variety of different formats. The trick to these watches is that you could take a rose gold Daytona that's plain and make an aftermarket sapphire bezel, but that's not what Post Malone has. He has an original. It is an extremely valuable watch. For instance, if he needs to put a down payment on a house, he could send that watch to me and he'll have that down payment wired directly to him. These Rolex watches take a long time to produce. You can't pump them out like Honda Civics. You have to have extremely trained professionals. There's not that many in the world, and there's more buyers than there are watches, right? You could take $1 trillion out of the Federal Reserve and go to Rolex, but Rolex ain't gonna make you $1 trillion worth of rainbow bezeled watches. It's just not gonna happen. It's physically impossible. That's why these watches are always sought after. I doubt that that trend is gonna change. And when you have these liquid pieces, it turns out to be a serious investment. So again, Post Malone walls out completely with one of the most sought after watches out there. Nautilus, factory set diamonds, Patek Philippe. The difference between Diamond District setters and factory setters for Patek Philippe is Patek Philippe has to set their diamonds that they will never, ever fall out. That's gonna be a disgrace for Patek Philippe if even one diamond falls out. If you have a flashy setting, you know, like you have it in a band or so on and so forth, and you iced it out and a diamond falls out, you set it back in. Diamond District, not the end of the world. However, when you're doing a Patek Philippe and you have a brand like that, you have to set diamonds deep, you have to hold them in very, very hard, and that's what they do. But they've got the baguettes, the emerald cuts in there, set and cut to perfection. That is a timepiece that is very, very sought after. It appreciates in value, it's iced, it's factory, there's no need for modification, and Post Malone got it. Post Malone, I mean, what am I supposed to say about this guy? He's got the right moves, he's got collectible pieces that any jeweler dreams about having in their collection. Forget about a rapper. Again, Post Malone surprises me with a Royal Oak Offshore. Stainless steel, the beautiful dial. Another collectible watch. It's not super expensive. It's something every day, something you could go take on an airport, take a flight, but it is a collectible piece that's always gonna be worth money for him if he keeps it in mint condition. Very good buy, very good piece. Keep the box and papers, Post Malone. Post also has a large collection of Richard Mille's that go along with his pieces. Now, the thing about Richard Mille's, giving him some of these watches to wear so he can have this guy, you know, as a brand ambassador, I could almost hear Rolex, Audemars, and Patek Philippe really upset that Richard Mille, you know, in the first generation is somewhere on that level and charging as much as he's charging for his watches. The Richard Mille game is a different game, let's put it that way. Someone's getting him here, they're selling him there, he's almost creating a currency with it. How long that currency is gonna last, I'm not sure, but if I had to place my money, I would carefully place it with Audemars, Patek Philippe, and a Rolex. They've been around for 100 years, they'll be around for another 100 years. So here you have a collection of chains of Post Malone, very iced out. You have an anchor link there with the baguettes. I've seen this in the Diamond District many times. It's not custom made, it's something off the shelf, but it's a beautiful chain, right? He's got a pointer, a baguette with a square look, and then he's got that sought after anchor link with iced out pieces at the end. Very, very nice setup. I like it with a puffy Gucci link. So it's essentially, he's got every type of link that you could have except a Cuban on there. Good diamonds, good carats, nothing crazy over the top. You could make that happen for $30,000 or so for dependence on those chains. But again, he has a certain style. It's a punk style with these pieces that you would buy at a flea market in stainless steel, except now they're in gold and they're in diamonds and all in white. He does that white gold look. Nothing heavy, nothing too crazy, but it's still, you know, elite hip hop royalty style. When it comes to this setup, it's a nice classic iced out pieces, very unique chains. You got the iced out Devil Baby, the Hot Boys. You got a puffy Gucci link and some other links in there that are pretty cool. When it comes to the chains on this piece and a setup, $100,000 to $200,000 will get you there for what you're looking at here. Maybe $250 or something like that. It's a classic collection of pieces that I definitely think is fly, but you know, if he put his money towards the watches, I don't think he made a mistake. So here you have a classic pave grill, very nice, fits his gums very good. You know, when you're a guy like him, you gotta have an iced out grill, rose gold. You know, it's a nice honeycomb setting. It's not, you know, the baguettes and all this other stuff, but it's classic. You have to start with this grill. You can't just start with a baguette grill and all this other stuff. That's your 10th grill. This is the classic grill for your tops. He's got it, he's rocking it, looks good. That's it. So here Post Malone is on stage wearing a cross that's not made out of expensive materials. But there's a trend out there with chrome hearts and things like that, that they're wearing stainless steel pieces that's still a couple of $1,000s or in the thousands of dollars. It's another look. It's a look to switch it up. Long chain with a cross on the end of it. The cross is on the jacket. It's more metal, more motorcycle, more punk on that tip. You know, it's hard to pinpoint the price because it matters who manufactured that. Stainless steel is measured by per ton when it comes to the price of it. Now, obviously, when you're buying that, you're not valuing the metal in stainless steel. You're valuing the craftsmanship and the design and the designer that you're wearing, right? You're wearing a cotton shirt. You're not valuing that shirt by what the cotton is going for per pound as a commodity. You're valuing it by, you know, who crafted it and the designer. So that's what's happening here, and it could be in the thousands, it could be $10,000, and people are wearing these and they're very sought after. So one of the trends that you see in hip hop that is quite interesting is something not so aggressive, right? Let's put it that way. You know, Hello Kitty, not the most aggressive, you know, it's not a lion head, let's put it that way. And you got a candy necklace on there, but that's a different look. He has, on the one hand, the Grim Reaper and all this, the bullets and all this other stuff. You don't need to do that all the time. You have a different side to you. You show something a little bit more playful or more tender or what have you. That's what he's doing over here. It's a completely different look. When you're an artist, you make different expressions to the world, and this is one of those for Post Malone. So Post Malone's jewelry collection is pretty dope. He didn't throw vast amounts of capital on his jewelry collection, but some of the timepieces that he owns, the Patek Philippe's, the rare rainbow Rolex, Audemars, what have you, definitely is impressive along with that Dallas piece. But that watch collection is something that is really gonna do him very, very right today, tomorrow, and in the years to come. So very important for any rapper, any big boy thinking about that. Everybody grows up, kids grow up, and you know, at the end of the day, you gotta have that collection of those timepieces.